Hey guys, welcome back to Deltales. I've been hearing a lot of people lately talking about money under Biden was a lot worse than money under Trump. But there's quite a few things I haven't come to understand, and I'm not sure if they fully understand how this is working or what's actually happening. So I did want to make this a conversation today for sure, and to try to see if we can find a middle ground that actually makes a little bit more sense. But I've truly come to understand some points here, and it's that people truly don't realize the effects of how the money changes during Trump to Biden's presidency. What's funnier is the simple fact that this happens after every election. This is nothing new. It's nothing surprising, and we'll talk more about that later. They'll turn around and tell you that somehow Biden has ruined the money that they're holding on to, or their money reserves are a lot worse off because of Biden, even though the economy is currently at one of its best places in its history. The sad part about this is the simple fact that only the rich are really noticing the best parts of the economy that are growing right now, and this is the reason why a lot of people are just frustrated with it. So when it comes to understanding exactly why people are not realizing why their money is being affected, is the simple fact that the first 2 to 3 years for the following presidency is really residual from the previous administration. So all of these money problems that are actually happening to people actually have nothing to do with Biden. Biden is actually working on implementing his own plans, and that's what you're starting to see the last 18 months or so. But it's Trump's policies that we're actually experiencing right now. This is why, once again, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Now, keep in mind, this does not mean I'm saying, hey, go vote Democrat, or hey, go vote Republican. In all honesty, that needs to be a personal decision for you. You have to be the one to make that decision and make sure no one else makes that decision for you. That's really what's important. The only thing I wish about that is that people were more open to talking about it, But I'm hearing also a lot that, this may be the last election. We're never going to have an election again. This may end democracy. And I'm like, guys, we hear this every election. This is nothing new. They always say the same thing. Biden said the same thing when he was running against Hillary. It's the same story over and over, guys. It's not necessarily more of what's supposed to catch your attention that people should be looking for, because Trump is an entertainer and he knows how to get people's attention. That man is smart. He knows how to talk to his supporters. He knows how to gain their attention. I mean, he can say something that could be completely false, and we all know, they're eating the cats and the dogs. But the fact that he can say it so convincingly and then get away with it. Now, yeah, you might make fun of it in the media or whatever it is, but there were some supporters who were out there really claiming that people in Springfield, Ohio were really eating cats and dogs, and that was never true. But once again, that just goes to speak to the influence that Trump actually has with his supporters, and that they are willing to support him through whatever it is. And that's perfectly fine. You should be able to support whoever you choose to support. Now, once again, this is something that most candidates will come out and say to their opponent, coming out and saying, well, hey, if you vote for the other side, that'll cripple the country and all this stuff. You guys have to understand that America is doing so well right now that there is really no threat for any president, really, for any sitting president to just bring it down completely. That's not really a reality right now. That's not really how we should think of what the government is actually doing and how we have to look forward to the next 4 years, depending on who's leading the country. I think America's in such a great place right now, economically, that seriously, no president can really bring it down on their own. When we see Jerome Powell come out and he's talking about, we have some of the best economic data we've ever seen, but people are all over the country and all over social media saying, they're having a hard time buying food, prices with, these skyrocketing prices. Even something as simple as maybe they cannot save money because all their money is going right back out to bills. So they're just living paycheck to paycheck, which is quite a good portion of the country, actually. What about the cost of fuel? Fuel is very expensive. Ask those guys in California. They'll tell you fuel is very expensive. Medical cost, very expensive. Even certain medications, such as your EpiPen, maybe. You cross the border up into Canada, and EpiPen is only $35 for a month's supply. But down here, it could be $600. Now, I know they're working on bringing that down, but that's a reality that people have to deal with all the time. Even Bernie Sanders was questioning the guys from Eli Lilly and with Wegovy, and what's the other one? Wegovy and Ozempic. He was questioning them and saying, why is it so much cheaper in Canada or other countries versus the US? Why is it so expensive for people here? But the CEO really couldn't give us a clear answer. So people have to deal with this and have to pay the cost, even for those that have cancer, elderly that need certain medication that may not be affordable. Thank God for Mark Cuban's business, where he has those medications. He literally tells you how much he gets it for and how much of a price increase it is from his cost. And trust me, a lot of pharmacies are not big fans of him, but thank you, Mark Cuban, for what you do, because you're truly helping out a lot of people in that situation. But outside of medical costs, you also have the cost of education, which has skyrocketed, of course. Cost of used and brand new cars, actually. Nowadays you see so many people with car loans that are lasting for 72 months, 84 months, even 96 months. That's out of control. That's far too long for something that will never appreciate in value. It's a depreciating asset. You're paying way too much interest on that, which if you're taking a loan for 96 months, you cannot afford that car. And that's okay. Just get something different. Because by the time you're done with that loan, you probably don't even want the car anymore, or you're probably too far upside down to trade it in for something, a little better that you may want down the road. All I'm trying to say is don't trap yourself in these car loans. It's just not worth it. Everything is just far more expensive than it ever has been. There are increases in wages, but they cannot keep up with inflation. And here are some statistics for inflation since 2019. So since 2019, wages have increased 18%. However, that doesn't really help very much when you listen to these next ones. Inflation is reported at about 23% when Jerome Powell talks about it. So even though inflation is actually coming down, it's still much higher than wages are going up. Stock market has grown 85%, so obviously all of the rich are growing tremendously, exponentially. Cost of vehicles have increased 24% since 2019. Cost of renting has risen 30.4%, and even the cost of buying a home has increased 54% since 2019. So every time we hear the Fed Reserve talk about the economy, they say that the economy is booming. This is one of the best economic times we've ever had in U.S. history. If we're being honest with ourselves, they're talking about the rich. That's just the honest truth. Even for the stock market to be at all-time highs right now, but personally, I think this is the main problem, is that the majority of the people are not invested in the stock market. But most people are not invested maybe because they don't trust it, or they don't have the right information, or someone in their lives who can teach them about the market. Yes, we have YouTube and all that, but let's be real with ourselves, guys. That's not the information that people are looking for on YouTube. Although, don't get me wrong, people get views talking about the stock market and all that, but that's usually involved with people who already know about the stock market, or they just want some extra information that is much harder to get unless they listen to one of these experts actually give the info. One of the things that I hear from a lot of people, especially in the black community, is that they want to receive reparations, and they usually want access to land. Which, by the way, this is the reason why so many people in the black community are saying they're no longer of African descent. I don't know if you guys have seen this movement going on social media, but they're Native American descent to try to get benefits from the government. And it's just a scam. Like, the whole movement is just ridiculous. But even if you are given reparations with land, are you ready to develop that land and evolve it over time? Are you willing to work with people? Whether it's your family, you or your friends get together and develop this, are you not going to be greedy and try to take all the profits for yourself? Will you be willingly splitting it amongst everyone? These are questions that we never ask ourselves, but I think we need to do that more often. Going back to most of the economy not being invested in the stock market, it's pretty simple. When we talk about saving money, or you talk to people about saving money, you see them shake like this is just not possible. It's an afterthought. They just can't do it. They have to survive week to week, month to month, whatever it is. And that investing is only for the rich who have a lot of disposable money. People are willing to talk about saving money, but when it comes to actually doing it, they have nothing to say. They're not even willing to talk to you about it. The truth is that saving money can be easy, and you do not need to be a millionaire to actually invest. That's the simple truth, guys. Even for me, when I started investing, I invested 10% of my paychecks. At this time, I was a collector. I made $30,000 a year. I was taking home anywhere from $850 to $900 every 2 weeks. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I just chose to start investing to see my money actually grow over time, try to get some of that compound interest over the years, and doing something different than what everybody else was doing. From my point of view, what I was seeing is a lot of people talked about investing in their own future, or buying a home later on, whatever it may be, but when it came down to time to actually do it, they only kept talking and no one ever acted. And that's kind of where it got to my head, where I was like, I'm just going to try to be different, because everyone is still in the same position after years of talking about this, and I wonder what actually just doing it will do. Instead of spending $80-90 every 2 weeks on fast food or eating at work, let's invest it and see what it does. Let's see how this grows over time. So I decided to stop talking and do something about it. Instead of just, saying just do it, or instead of just talking about it, I just did it. That's all I did. $80 to $90 every 2 weeks. And what's funny about this is I chose the most unpopular route, the route that gets you chastised by your friends the most. Your friends may sit back and just be like, look, this is not for you. They may think you're trying to be better than them. They may try to cut you out of the friendship circle. A lot of these things actually happened to me personally, but I was okay with it, because what's funny is all the things that come with money, from the money to the fame, girls, houses, cars, whatever, all of the above, everything that comes with that, you only really get to see when they make it. You never really get to see their struggles before they make it, and those struggles are the reasons why they can do what they do at this point. We've all heard the stories. A lot of them out there, whether it's sports, music, something in the culture, whatever it is, politicians, whatever it is, CEOs even. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't even finish college. Yeah, he went to Harvard, but he didn't even finish. And look at him today. He's not the popular guy or anything like that, but now he is. Now no one questions that part. But most people are just not willing to do the hard, unpopular thing to do. Our friends, like I said, they will think it's not cool. They'll try to persuade you not to follow those steps because they think it's a waste of time, and that it only works for the few who actually have the insider information and not for everyone else who has a true opportunity. So this will not be easy for anyone who takes these routes. Your friends, something that they cannot do for you in the future is they cannot live your life for you. So you can choose to be in the same position over and over and over, or you can choose to change it. But that portion is completely up to you. Some of those friends, sometimes they're only in your life for a season of your life. Maybe they're not meant to be there as a lifetime friend. Sometimes you simply outgrow your friends and they chastise you for it, or you may even chastise them for it. It doesn't matter, but they have to move on with their life at some point. Other times, your friends may have kids. They get married. They don't have your time anymore. And all of those things are okay, by the way. Keep that in mind. I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying these are the realities that you will have to deal with. And once they're not able to spend the same amount of time around you, you still have to go on and live your life. So you still have to make decisions for your life at the same time. But your friends are definitely important people to have in your life. But for me personally, you got to find people that will help you grow, that will challenge you to be a better you. That you can confide in, people you can talk to about anything and everything. People you challenge to be a better version of themselves. You see them coming up, and then you're coming up, and you guys are challenging each other to be better no matter what. And those types of people, and then there are types of people that, like I said, will only be there for a season. And if those are the type of people that you're around and they're the only ones that you're around, then maybe they're not the problem, but maybe you may be the problem, So you have to make some of those decisions on your own and see what actually is important to you. But this was just a general talk, guys.